It's Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods.
Six the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It is a Tuesday. More rain for much of the region today. Oh, and a winter weather advisory for the Bighorn Mountains.
Today's show is sponsored by Squid-Flavored Donuts, bringing the flavor of the ocean to your breakfast pastry.
You know, you can have the whole box of them. No, it's okay. I'll pass. Finally, wait. Yeah.
Warning, this show contains reference to guns, liberty, limited government, low taxation, the cult of climate change, free thinking, cigar smoking, short people, rubber chickens, Karen's bureaucracy, liberal buzzwords, tour runs, traffic, toilets, terrible jokes, and more. No apologies will be issued. Guest callers may express any opinion they want without fear of being canceled. Unless you're a loudmouth jerk like Dave, then Glenn will hang up on you. Strap in, hold on to your coffee, and feel free to participate.
This disclaimer does not refer to every person named Dave, just one particular Dave from San Francisco. We know a lot of Daves. They call this show all the time, and they're great people. So don't call this program and complain that we use your name. That would be a real Dave move, Dave.
I have just a beautiful thing to start your day with. And I looked at a lot of serious news, and then I thought, why? Why would I do that when I can start your day with such a beautiful thing? See, President Biden was given a speech, I don't know, somewhere. I'll go find out for you where exactly he was when he gave the speech. And he made reference to him being vice president. And apparently he was vice president in charge of COVID. I'm just pausing a little bit so that can sink in for you. Yeah, he was in charge. Well, when he was vice president of the United States, was the whole COVID thing going on? No, of course not. So how the hell? And this has got to make you wonder. Well, in fact, I tell you what, I'll just let you hear for yourself. He's got to make you wonder. The people who are around Biden. I said this when he was running for president the first time. Why didn't they just pull him off and say, I'm sorry, we're going to get him out of here. We're going to bring up somebody new. We can't let this guy run for president. He obviously isn't all there. But no, they just keep propping him up. I mean, this is Weekend at Bernie's at this point, which was a great movie, by the way, that I really liked. I might have to go back and watch it again, but I'll be afraid that I'm watching Biden the whole time that I'm watching Weekend at Bernie's.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to. God love you.
And he goes and shakes the mayor's hand, and the mayor's kind of smiling and so on. So Joe Biden says he was vice president during COVID, and President Obama sent him to Detroit to fix it. Okay, let's review. I know you don't need to review this. You don't need this. We don't need to go down this path, but let's take a look at it. So did COVID happen while he was president or vice president? Okay, we know our history. The whole COVID thing started while Trump was president. And then Biden took over after that. Okay. So what the hell is he talking about? And you got to wonder, I don't think that was on the teleprompter. I think he got off the teleprompter when he said that. Now, that's one of many other things that, we've picked on Biden over the years. Oh, I got to ask this question. Is that going to be, I know that that's going to make Fox News. They're going to play the hell out of it. Do you think that's going to make CNN? Maybe. Do you think that's going to make MSNBC? Hell no. Do you think public radio and public television will play that or highlight it in any way? Well, of course not. We all know whose side everybody's on here. So who's going to emphasize this and who's going to de-emphasize this? But I do think it's one of many things that we need to look at. We should have been looking at it when Biden was running the first time around. I have no idea what the left is going to do the next time around. Especially, I know it's difficult to get this stuff out on the internet because so much of it is suppressed by leftist algorithms as well. Oh, here was another great one from. Let's go just down memory row on this one, if you will.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
See, now I've tried looking that word up and I haven't, but let's translate that. We'll do it again.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You're president of the United States. Okay, I love this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America. Made in America.
Trying to think. That's three words, right? Let's see. What was this one?
The only way to spare more pain and more loss, the only way.
Right, yeah.
These millstones no longer mark our national mourning. These milestones, I should say, no longer mark our national mourning.
You guys just don't understand. What he's trying to say is when you have a tree that's leaning over the fence, then it's only going to be like a parked car anyway. So just make sure that, you know, when the door's closed, that the windows are always on fire.
Okay. I'm glad we do have that teleprompter to come around and help us. I wonder if they're going to do that during the presidential debates.
We've always found ways to come together. We can find that unity again.
Here we go.
And the message said, end a message.
I'm on Burgundy? Who typed a question mark on the teleprompter? For the last time, anything you put on that prompter, Burgundy will read.
Now, I did come up with this is something, a mashup, a montage, or whatever. I think it's a mashup is a better way to put it, that I put together a little while ago. It's the Oval Office, and the vice president walks in to have a conversation with the president.
You got the vaccination? Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're.
So to that end, we are announcing today also that we will assist Jamaica in COVID recovery by assisting in terms of the recovery efforts in Jamaica that have been essential to, I believe, what is necessary.
If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not.
Space is exciting. Space, it affects us all, and it connects us all.
No, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out.
Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right?
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
Okay. So now I'm going to play that one more time for those people who are still joining us. And Rianne from Fort Danger says, man, are they even trying to hide the dementia at this point? How can his family allow this? And that's something I've always wondered. It's crazy and sad, yet he was such a horrible person. He always was a horrible person. This just makes it worse, but it shows you how bad his family is, and I think how bad the Democrat Party is. One more time, though, this is where this all started today. The president speaking in Detroit.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic, and what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to.
Okay, so the pandemic did not happen when Biden was vice president, not for a long time afterwards. I don't even know. He doesn't even know what decade he's in at this point.
Do you have any history of mental illness in your family?
I have an uncle who does yoga.
Allergies?
Cowardice and weak-willed men. And hazelnuts.
Sexual history?
Epic and private.
Okay.
Well, that image is going to stick with you all day. So many opinions, we had to build the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app to hold them all. Free download from AM 1030 K2 Radio.
6:23 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. All right, Big Wave. I got to answer him on the air. Besides that, I typed back to him. If you're missing it, I just played, and I'll play it again later this morning. So President Biden giving a speech in Detroit, and he talks about how Barack Obama sent him to Detroit to go fight COVID when he was vice president. Right, we were not doing the COVID thing during the Obama years. So that didn't happen. Don't know where he got that from. Now, Big Wave sends me this text message, which, by the way, you can text me while I'm on the air. Download the Wake Up Wyoming app, free at your app store. One of the many options is the chat option, which you'll find on the toolbar in the middle. Then just go ahead and text away. So Big Wave says, Glenn, you just assume he means vice president this go-around. I believe President Biden is referring to when he was vice president during the 1918 pandemic of the Spanish flu. Now, I think he's right, and I think that was actually during the same exact time that Biden's son was a fighter pilot in the Civil War, and he died tragically. I'm just going out on a limb, but I think that's possibly what happened here. All right, we are, just in case you hadn't heard, living in the end times.
So put on your respirator and let's fix that generator. And while we're out, we'll mend our fences too. See, I'm not afraid of dying, just got reasons for surviving. I want one more day in the apocalypse with you.
Headline, Cowboy State Daily. Firm that wants to build carbon-sucking silos in Wyoming signs a deal with the Saudis? Really? Okay. So, Saudi government backed a venture and is making itself a player in central Wyoming push for what they call clean air. Now, I'm not going to call it clean air because CO2 is not a pollutant. So we don't need to suck. In fact, sucking it out of the air is the last thing we need to do. But all right. The venture capital investment arm of the oil giant Aramco, one of the world's largest companies, it's largely owned by the government of Saudi Arabia, has made an undisclosed equity investment. The company is what they call a clean technology company that wants to build a big field of silos to draw hundreds of thousands of tons of CO2 out of the air and stored underground in caverns in central Wyoming. Now, first of all, as I've said this before, this is technology that is unproven. Nobody's been able to really successfully do this yet. Not just suck it out of the air, but store it underground. Furthermore, we don't need to do this because they keep treating CO2 as if it's a pollutant. And as I keep saying, if anything, we need more of it in the air. But all right, in a recent announcement, the technology company and co-founder, senior executives, it names all of the people involved in this. And also, this is a development company for the United Kingdom and Saudi Arabia. They have made undisclosed equity investments in this. So, an online tracker of venture capital investments said they have raised $11 million to go ahead and give this a try. All right. So you would see something that looks like, they have an artist rendition of this, but it would look something like a grain silo, kind of. And the idea is, again, it's supposed to suck CO2 out of the air. Quote, we believe that direct air capture has the potential to play an important role in reducing carbon emissions from hard-to-abate sectors of the economy. The deal with the company is the goal of achieving significantly lower greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. This is just, oh, God. And a lot of what they're doing here to make money off of this has to do with carbon credits, which is a big scam in itself. Basically, you're buying air and trapping it, trying to trap it underground. That's essentially what they're trying to do. So if this happens at some point, you can go ahead and you'll see these silo-looking things popping up around the landscape. And let's not forget, your governor is supposedly working with Colorado to put a direct air capture thing around Wyoming as well. So they want all of these things popping up around Wyoming that will suck CO2 directly out of the air, which is the last thing we should be doing. Remember your basic science from middle school. Plants inhale CO2, which they use to get greener, thicker, lusher, more fruits and vegetables and so on. And plants exhale O2, which you inhale and breathe. Such is the cycle of life. But they're treating this as if it's some kind of a pollutant and as if we're in some kind of a climate crisis. So we'll see what happens now. But anyway, that's what they intend to do. Whether it becomes a reality or not, I don't know, but that's the intention. They're trying to set up a company to do this. I'm really hoping all of this just falls flat on his face really soon. You've heard the reasons why that I've given over the past few years. All right, coming up on some local business that we have to take care of, we're going to roll into local news, update on your weather forecast. You and I get back into it again. 888-97 Woods the phone number. That's 888-97-WOODS. Going to be a rainy Tuesday throughout most of the region. Winter weather advisory up in the Bighorns. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Listen to Glenn Woods anywhere you roam with the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
6:36 the time. Wake Up Wyoming. It's a Tuesday. It's wet throughout most of Wyoming, and there's a winter weather advisory up in the Bighorn Mountains right about now. All right. So that's something I'm going to focus on for just a minute. As a matter of fact, push aside everything else I was going to talk about. That is not surprising. In talking with Don Day, as I do every single weekday, this is the time of year when we get most of our wet. And a lot of people tend to think that is the winter time. It's December, it's supposed to be snowing. It's January, it's supposed to be snowing. Actually, this is the time we get most of our wet, and we're doing pretty good this year, especially in those areas. Now, down in southeast Wyoming, you could use a little bit more. But the rest of the state has been doing really well, especially in the springtime with all of the wet that we're getting. And to have a winter weather advisory, some of you who've been here long enough know that, hey, you've had snowstorms this time of year. A big blizzard comes in or something like that. Don't see anything like that on the horizon. But now the Bighorns needed some more white up there. They missed out on a lot of the snow, which means a lot of ski resorts in the Bighorns didn't really have a season. But if we head down into Colorado, there's still skiing down there. Ski resorts in Colorado are still open right now, and more snow's coming down on them. So they're just going to keep it rolling like this. So, okay, let me see. Bighorn Mountains, urgent weather messages from the National Weather Service for today. Winter storm warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. this evening. Additional snow up to 8 inches, mostly in the northeast Bighorn Mountains. Travel could be difficult on Highway 14. Recreation in the high country will be impacted by heavy wet accumulating snow. And then they say the heaviest snowfall will be in the higher elevations, of course, and Johnson and Sheridan County line. Okay, that's mainly up in the mountains, which means those folks that are in Sheridan and down in Buffalo, you get some wet out of this. And I wouldn't doubt if you got to see some snowflakes and so on, but it's really way up high and more north where that's going to happen. And, of course, Highway 14 is north of Sheridan, so that's where most of this is going to come down. Could use a good fat layer of white up there since they missed it most of the wintertime. And that's where so many people, not just in the mountains but down below, get their water for the rest of the year. So good that this is happening. Also, I've been watching the drought map. In fact, I'm going to call that up when I'm talking to you right now. There is a drought monitor map for the entire United States. And I check on that from time to time, and it's looking pretty good. A while back, a few years ago, that's when California, states, Washington State and so on, most of the West was, when you looked at the drought map, it was in deep, dark reds and so on. And this is when they were predicting the reservoirs were going to dry up because it's climate change and so on. And then Mother Nature turns around and dumps one of the heaviest winters they've seen in a couple of generations on them, and the drought just goes away. So all we've had to worry about here in Wyoming is up in the Bighorn area, and mostly northeast Wyoming. And then when you get down into, there's a little bit in the Laramie County area around Cheyenne and so on. You got some moderate. You could use some more rain, although you're not really all that bad, but you could use some more rain. So this continues throughout the rest of this week, this on and off wet. Cool temperatures through the weekend. Now, I got Don Day's extended forecast coming up in just a moment. He'll be on at 7:45. He'll explain the whole thing. And then the question is, how long do we keep getting this wet? Because at some point, even though we get rain showers, thunderstorms in the summertime, at some point we hit that dry period. And that's where we needed to build up as much moisture as we can in order to make it through the dry period that we typically get. But what surprises a lot of people, and this is in my conversations with Don Day, is talking with him about when we get the most wet and the least. The driest months, believe it or not, are the end of the year. Yeah, we're talking around December, January. Those tend to be the driest months for the whole year, not the wettest. And you look at it and think, well, don't we get a whole lot of snow and so on? Yeah, but those are typically our driest month. These here right now, this is the wettest time. So if you're looking outside going, wow, still getting rain out there. Yes, and expect more this week too. All right, so coming up on Don Day's extended forecast.
Hello, I finished my free trial of adulting. I'm no longer interested. I'd like to cancel my subscription. Is there a manager that I can talk to?
Admit it, you were hoping somebody would say that. Want to talk to Glenn? Call 888-97-WOODS or chat him on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
8:48 is the time. Wake Up Wyoming. Off we go to the ice box where Frank Gambino is waiting by. Frank, sometimes people get themselves in big trouble, but afterwards they still say, yeah, but that was cool, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But as long as they eventually live up to it, I think that's the point.
Yeah. Ohio female postal worker pulled over for racing against a Mustang at 105 miles an hour.
Those mail trucks don't go that fast.
Well, it was a van.
Those vans don't go that fast.
Well, that's what the cop got her at. Ohio postal worker was pulled over, and I was watching the video for this, and the cop kept asking her, so what's the reason for going 105 miles an hour?
Where's the fire?
And she's trying to come up with the excuse. And, here's the excuse. Yeah, I mean, the Mustang took off. He caught my attention, and then you blew by, and I was pacing like, I guess, 105. So, you have my attention. I mean, so and the cop's asking, you've got to be kidding me. So now she's got to go back to work.
Right. Well,
right?
I would tell her boss, you know what?
Yes.
My truck was full of first-class mail.
There you go.
And those
overnight.
people paid overnight, and they needed to get it today.
Right.
And everyone got their mail today who paid for overnight.
Okay. So let's see. Court records identified her as a 28-year-old. She waived the case and is now has to pay. It's her first offense.
Well, okay.
So what do you think the fine should be?
I would say about $350.
Okay. Paid $50 as the first installment of a $240 fine. A verbal warning. The postal worker, let's see, 245. Okay. I want to know what happens when she gets to work. What does the boss do?
Well, I would have to suspend her or something.
Something like this, yeah. So that's what I don't have in the story is what does the boss do. But here's now, after all that trouble she gets in, I'm sure when all the dust finally settles and life gets on, she's going to turn to her fellow postal employees and go, yeah, but that was cool, right?
Yeah, and that's why she's working at Burger King.
That probably, would be after. I mean, if I were her boss, I would have no choice but to let her go. But as I let her go, I would say, yeah, but that was cool, though, you know? Yeah. I mean, you raced a Mustang and you took a postal van up to 105 miles an hour, which nobody thinks is possible, but by God, you managed to do it. Even the cop is pulling her over going, I can't believe this.
Did she win?
No, it's a Mustang.
Oh, okay.
Now, I want to know also, what happened to the Mustang?
Well, yeah, he probably was going 130 and just ran away.
So he got away,
All righty, in college basketball, new Wyoming men's coach Sundance Wicks busy getting players through the transfer portal, and he needs more than a few. The latest three is 6'10 center Scotty Ubibe, who played 3 years at Southern Illinois but started one game in that time period. UW is looking for size, and that guy's got size. Forward Cole Henry will be joining the Pokes from northern Iowa. He played 5 seasons there. 6'9", averaged 5 points a game for UNI. Another transfer is Jordan Nesbitt, who played the last 2 seasons at Hampton, also spent a year at Memphis, and also spent a year at St. Louis. He's a 6'6 shooting guard who averaged 15 points a game last season. High school soccer, the season did end over the weekend. In 4A boys, Jackson beat Cheyenne Central 4-0 for the state championship. Central finished the season 17-2. Kelly Walsh was 15-6. Cheyenne East 10-7-3. Laramie went 6-5-4, and Natrona 6-13. And Cheyenne South was 1-13-1. In boys high school track and field, there were 3 guys who won 3 events at the state meet in Casper over the weekend. Drake Plowman of Cokeville won the 800, 1600, and 3200 meter runs in 1A and won all 3 of those races last year, too, at the state meet. Gavin Stafford of Bighorn won the 100, 200, and the long jump in 2A. And in 3A, Landers Reed McFadden won the 110 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, and the high jump. In the 4A boys team standings at the state track meet, Sheridan won the state title with Cheyenne Central 3rd with 64 points, Natrona 4th with 62, Kelly Walsh was 6th with 60, Laramie was 12th with 21, and Cheyenne East was 15th with 6 points. In the NFL, Denver Broncos second-year linebacker Drew Sanders tore his Achilles at the team's offseason workout program. Sanders was a third-round draft pick last season out of Arkansas and played in 17 games for the Broncos last season with 24 tackles. The expected recovery time from an injury like that is anywhere from 6 to 9 months. Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies will start a 3-game pillow fight in Oakland tonight. The Rockies are 15-31, which is the worst mark in the National League. Oakland is 19-30, and that is the second worst record in the American League, and that's in sports.
I want to say, Frank, for the record, after doing the story about the postal employee doing 105 miles an hour against a Mustang, I do not know. I want the people who are the managers of the radio stations here in Wyoming, I have no idea how fast any of our station vehicles go.
Oh, I do. It says right on the dash there. There's a number there.
That doesn't mean they go that fast.
Oh, I'm thinking that they can. Yeah.
I can tell you, though, how far they can go on a tank of gas. I have squeaked that out every last drop.
You know, when you have that thing like you have so many miles left to go,
yes.
I don't trust that at all.
No, I really don't. No, that's an estimate there. And then what about when you're driving into the wind? In fact, when I was coming back, I went, it was something like a 50-mile-an-hour tailwind. Mm-hmm. And, man, I was getting great gas mileage. To that estimate that shows up on the dash? Yeah, but do I trust it that I get to go that far? No. All right, thank you, Frank. Coming up on some local business we have to take care of. We're going to roll into news time after that national local update on the weather forecast. I will replay for those who missed it Biden's latest gaffe. And then what some companies out there around the region and around the country are doing to try and to help you survive inflation. Hang on, we'll get into that next hour of the program, Wake Up Wyoming. Time is 7:06. It's Wake Up Wyoming. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. Tuesday, wet and rainy, snow alert, winter weather advisory up in the Bighorns. Don Day will be on at 7:45 to explain that and many other things.
Today's show is sponsored by Squid Flavored Donuts, bringing the flavor of the ocean to your breakfast pastry.
And to show you what kind of guy I am, I'm going to let you have the whole box. I don't need, I'm trying to lose weight and all of that. You can go ahead and enjoy them. All right, now I'm going to play this several times this morning just because it's just worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, President Biden speaking in Detroit. See if you can hear what's wrong.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it.
So, okay. When he was vice president, things were bad during the pandemic, and Barack sent him to fix Detroit. Okay. I just let you piece that together. I'm still waiting on the Democrats to get back with us on what sense that made. Now, a story that I just got done telling Frank Gambino in the last segment of the program. I want you to hear some of the audio if you take a moment to listen to this. This started a little bit of a conversation with those people who are texting me by using the chat option on the Wake Up Wyoming app. So it's an Ohio postal worker. Now, this is not a postal truck like you're used to seeing in your neighborhood. This is a van. Is pulled over for racing a Mustang at 105 miles an hour. So the cop approaches the van.
Is there a reason you're going over 100?
Newly released video of a traffic stop along Route 20 west of Fremont shows body cam footage from a Sandusky County deputy. He had just pulled over a USPS mail van for speeding, going more than 100 miles per hour in a 60-mile-per-hour zone.
I didn't realize that I was going that fast.
Yeah. I mean, that Mustang took off, he caught my attention, and then you blew by him, and I was pacing to like 105.
According to the report from Sandusky County, the van had no plates, and the driver appeared to be racing a Mustang.
What was the reason? Why'd you take off like that?
I shouldn't have.
Did you know the person in the Mustang?
No, didn't know.
They were driving around acting ridiculous on 590, but...
I kind of assumed when the way they took off at the light there, because I was right across from you.
Right.
The postal worker identifies herself as from the Fremont Post Office. This stop happened at about 1:51 in the afternoon on April 21st, which was a Sunday.
When I saw him take off, I'm like, you have my attention. And then you went by him, like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So he saw me coming up behind him, and he did the right thing and stopped or slowed down, and then you continued.
Right.
So you got your driver's license with you?
Yes, I do.
Court records identify that driver as Drew Brown, who's 28 and from Fremont. She waived the case, which is now closed.
All right, well, obviously the vehicle is not registered to you.
Paying a $50 fine for the traffic violation after receiving a verbal warning.
Right,
okay, 105 miles an hour in a postal van, and she just can't come up with an excuse. One thing about the video that I thought was really interesting, it makes sense. It makes total sense, but I kind of chuckled at it. So when the cop pulls over this postal van, the body cam shows he's walking up to the driver's side to talk to the driver, and then realizes there's nobody there because it's a postal van. The steering wheel is on the other side. So he has to go back around the van and up to talk to this lady over here. So I got into a conversation with Frank Gambino about this. Now, David is in Graybill. This is one of the good Davids, not one of the bad ones like the one from San Francisco. He's over in Graybill, Wyoming. He says, hey, Glenn, blessings from the Bighorn County Deputy Sheriff that pulled me over at 82 in a 70 and gave me a verbal warning. And what he and I were just talking about, Dave and I were just talking about, is I've noticed, not that I've had a lot of experience with Wyoming police officers, but I have noticed, and other people that I've talked to as well, if you get pulled over for something, or whatever the case is, and you're dealing with a Wyoming police officer, if you are not a jerk, and you're cooperative and friendly, then by God, they're going to work with you and cut you a great deal and might just let you off with a warning or whatever the case is. Watch out, please be careful, But if you're just going to be a jerk, a moron, have a bit of an attitude, well, then they're going to have a bit of an attitude back, and now you got a problem. And I've always found that out to be the case. In fact, I had a time that I had my tail light on the driver's side had cracked and was leaving a big piece of white light shining out of there, which you're not supposed to have. That's supposed to be all red for some reason. Cop pulls me over and just says, hey, tell you what you do. You can go up to an auto parts store right over there, or there's a Walmart up the road over there, and just there's some red tape that you can temporarily cover that with until you get that fixed. Would you do that for me? Thank you very much. And that was it. The only other time I was trying to get up a hill, it was wintertime, and the hill had not been plowed. It's like, when I get to work, it's like 2 a.m. So they hadn't plowed this hill, and I got a running start and rushed up the hill with my tires spinning, but made it. And when I pull into the radio station parking lot, police officers right behind me, and I invited them into the warmth as we talked, and I said there was just no way I was going to get up that hill without getting a running start. And he looked at me and said, you're right. There is when they haven't plowed it, there is no way. But do me a favor, not that fast. I mean, I understand you got to get a running start, but, just dial it back a little bit for me. And I said, absolutely, I will. Yeah, okay. And that was it. That was the end of the conversation. So my experience has been very good in the state of Wyoming. I'm with David on that one. Steve and Casper, don't ever go full retard. That's true. Mike and Casper, bear spray training should be mandatory for all Taurons. Here's the problem with bear spray training, Mike. There are some Taurons out there that think that bear spray is a lot like bug spray, and they've actually sprayed themselves. I spray myself with it, and the bears will stay away from me, like you do with mosquito repellent. And, of course, it just never works that way. Now, I bet the don't go full retard, Steve, was that in regards to Biden and what he said there? I need to save that and add that to the list of things that Biden has said over the years that just make absolutely no sense. I mean, I don't understand. What is he thinking when he says something like this? And how jacked up is he going to? Remember, they're going to have to put him up for the presidential debate. They're going to have to jack Biden up for the presidential debate. There's no way that without, first off, he's got to get a decent nappy poo in. And then how many Red Bulls does he have to chug in order to be ready to debate Trump? I don't know. But especially and I know that what I just played for you, I'm going to play it again here. I know what I just played for you. MSNBC and public radio and television, and maybe even CNN, are not going to replay this.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it.
Okay. So the pandemic happened when Obama was president and he was vice president. Is that how you remember it?
Lead to cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortion. No. Cognitive distortions. Haagen-Dazs dispersion. Getting further away. Cognitive distortions. I don't know what you're saying. It's when you think things are different than how they actually are. Oh, like imaginary. Kind of, but bad imaginary.
No.
Yep, there you have it. A new level of crazy. And you heard it here. He's talking to himself in a padded room, and you could be the voice in his head. Join the conversation on Wake Up Wyoming, 866-97-WOODS.
$7:20 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. So let me just see. Since there's a mention here of bear spray, Red is telling me I had a buddy that accidentally set his bear spray off on his hip. He ended up stripped to his underwear, cussing on the walk out. Yeah. There was yesterday's story we had, came from Cowboy State Daily. There was someone who had left their bear spray in their vehicle in the hot sun. And when it blew up, the canister went through the windshield and arced up and over in the skyland. I think it hit another vehicle about 100 yards away, something like that. Gives you an idea. Morning, Mike. Let's see. Monster is much stronger than Red Bull. Oh, okay. So Biden needs an IV for any debate. Yeah, I can believe that. No, I can see that. What do you think they're going to jack him on before the debate? Because I think in order for him to debate, they need first off, he's got to get in a decent nappy poo. And then they got to get him all up and jacked up. You just heard the audio if you heard me play it a few minutes ago. So you know what he's like. And you know what he was like during the State of the Union address? Obviously, he was up on something. So they get him all jacked up. Again, I don't think coffee's good enough to do that. Red Bull, maybe, but you're saying Monster's better. Okay. I think I tried one of those energy drinks once, and I really wasn't too keen on it. I have my morning cup of coffee or two, and that's about it. All right, Bidenomics. Target is cutting prices on thousands of basics due to inflation. Thank you, Target. Well, they've got to make up some lost territory because they went really woke. And you know what happens? You start to lose your audience. I've said this many times before, like with the whole Bud Light controversy. Hey, Bud, just sell beer. Don't get involved in any issue on any side. Just sell beer. Because the moment you pick a side in any argument, you've lost a good chunk of the people who would normally go shopping with you from either side of the political spectrum. So just do what you do. So Target, just be a retail store. That's it. Don't pick sides on any issue. Just be a retail store. Because the moment you start choosing sides, you're losing customers. All right, retail giant Target announced that the chain will cut prices on thousands of customer basics this summer, everything from diapers to milk. Story says the rate of inflation is still too high, and Americans are finding it difficult to pay 2024 prices with 2020 paychecks. 60% of Americans say they live paycheck to paycheck. Everyone's feeling the pinch. Household budgets have been cut, only the necessities for many families. There may have been a cushion, the story says, for the family budget during the Trump economy, but not right now. Target is trying to increase sales by cutting prices. This is oftentimes, I find this to be where people misunderstand why prices get jacked up. You're jacking prices because you're greedy. No, if you understand retail, then you understand, even restaurants, what you understand is it's volume that really does it more than anything else. Walmart is not so successful because they have such high prices. Dollar stores are not so successful because of high prices. Target is trying to increase sales by cutting prices. It already has prices for about 1,500 items cut. That'll be about 5,000 items, including food, drinks, essential household goods. Retailers they're trying to help people out who are struggling. And they're also competing with each other on this because, see, last week McDonald's says it was planning to introduce a $5 meal in the U.S. next month to counter slowing sales. Because when you walk in to get a basic lunch at McDonald's and it costs you $15, or, I know sometimes it isn't that high, depends on what you're getting. All right, and then let's see what Walmart trying to figure out a way to cut prices too. So they say we know everybody out there is feeling the pinch, say all these retail giants. So what they're doing is, and this is how the free market works, they're just competing with each other. This is how the free market works. Now, as these people start to cut prices, of course, Biden will take full credit for this, even though he's not the one doing it. This is just the free market trying to find a way to keep customers, because if prices get too high, customers quit showing up. They can lower prices, but they can only lower it so much. I had run a retail store in my couple of retail stores in my lifetime. And one of the stores that I ran, we always took all of our money. It was at a mall, and we would take all of the cash out of the store and go to the bank and drop it in the drop box. And we weren't the only one. A lot of other stores in the mall did that. No cash left in the store. So in the morning, there'd be a bunch of retail managers there to pick up the cash for their drawers, their registers. And here I am standing in line. In front of me is the manager of the jewelry store. So you're talking high-end expensive stuff, right? Behind me is the manager for the dollar store. And I'm looking at these two and I'm thinking, hang on, I have an interesting question for these two. And I asked them, you don't have to give me an exact number, but ballpark figure about how much does your store make a week and how much does your store make a month? Now, again, the jewelry store, that's high-end expensive stuff, and they don't make that many sales. The dollar store, however, they make pennies per sale. Their profit margin is not high. They literally make pennies per sale, per item that goes through the register. But the register is ringing nonstop all day long with people buying all sorts of little items. And the answer is, within a slight margin of error there, the answer is both the high-end jewelry store and the dollar store make about the same amount of money per month and per year. It's just a matter of, did they want to do business at a high-end, really expensive, or did they want to do what the dollar store does, which is pennies, 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 pennies. So what you're seeing with McDonald's and with Target, and I know Walmart's going to get in on the act, they're taking the volume approach to this. Okay, we have less customers because of inflation. Thank you, Bidenomics. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to lower prices to the bare minimum in the hopes that brings people back in, and hopefully they feel good about us giving them a break. Montana and Cheyenne, they definitely have him on some talking about Biden, some sort of amphetamines. Hitler was on him. I think it's a dictator thing. Chet Yoder is predicting they're just going to have him on cocaine. Well, why not? They found some at the White House, Let's see. Insurrectionist. White House issues 9 brutal corrections to Biden's NAACP speech. Wow. I hadn't seen that one. Okay. I wouldn't doubt that every time Biden goes out to speak, somewhere there's damage control. I mean, I honestly think that's... Have you ever tried watching one of those White House press briefings? They even have to do damage control when she's done, when the spokesperson there is done. I mean, it's hard. But Biden, every time he goes out to speak somewhere, and if he gets off that teleprompter, they have to do serious damage control after every single speech. So, all right, we'll see how they handle the rest of this election. I'm still in favor of, hey, Democrats, let Biden go home and pick somebody else. Because, honestly speaking, he just should not be out there at this phase. He just really shouldn't. It's just horrible. He shouldn't be out there. He should be at home relaxing with his family. Let's Wake Up Wyoming.
Thursday. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods on K2 Radio. Got something to say? Chat him on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app or call 888-97-WOODS.
All the things that happen during commercial and news breaks and so on that you guys don't get to see. I'll explain. So, just so you know, I've always wanted to keep my hearing in this business. Many people that I know in the radio business, they're just deaf because they put these big can headphones on and they crank them way up. Now, in case you didn't know, the reason that radio people wear headphones, when I turn on the microphone, the speakers in the room mute. That way there's no feedback between the speakers and the microphone, right? But then how do I hear what I'm doing? Well, that's why radio people wear headsets, so they can continue to hear what they're doing when the big speakers are muted. All right, well, I never wanted to blow my hearing for this job, so I always kept the volume way down. And as soon as they were invented and available, I have a set of earbuds, but I only use one of them. So I plug it in to the board here, and I put that little earbud in my right ear, and it's no louder than just a speaking voice. There. Now I'm not blowing my hearing. I can hear just fine after all of these years. Like I said, a lot of people I know that have been in the radio business for a long time they just went deaf by cranking those headsets up. Now, here's what just happened as we were coming out of that news and information break, and you were listening to local weather. And the music was about to start to bring us back in, right? I had taken my little earbud and I laid it down on the board, and I wasn't paying attention. There is a button that says on. It's a red button that says on, and it's for the exact slide pot that takes the phone calls. Okay, so that's on in case I get a phone call. And I'd put the earbud right there on that little red lit button, which is warm. When I picked up the earbud and shoved it in my ear to get back on the air, my thought was, oh, that's warm. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like a warm earbud in my ear. Oh, I think I'll do that from now on. And so now I'm ready to turn on the microphone. After all of these decades of being on the air, I finally discovered that warm earbuds feel really good in the ear canal. I might have to do that from now on. Now you know what I'm thinking before I bring myself back on the air. That's the professionalism of this radio program. All right, I do have coming up next hour in the program, and this is the headline from Cowboy State Daily, murky political group. You've seen their billboards maybe and heard some of the ads, or maybe even at the movie theater you might have seen some of their ads, maybe online too. They're called Honor Wyoming. Well, the story says they're slowly emerging from the shadows as to who they are. Now, here's a picture of one of their billboards. Don't clown Wyoming. We deserve lawmakers with integrity. Honor Wyoming. This is what they're doing. Okay. Take a little bit of a look at what they do and who they possibly are, because as they've been putting out all sorts of ads, which is fine. I mean, if they want to be a political group in Wyoming, go right ahead. But I always like it when people just come right out and say who they are, and they're very much out in the open about it. Well, so far, that's not been the case. So who are they? And what exactly are their goals? Because they certainly have some money behind them. I've seen ads all over social media on the internet, and I've also seen, again, billboards popping up all over the place, and a few other ads in a few other places. I go, there's that Honor Wyoming group again. And they really seem to be going after what they're calling rhinos. Although I'll wait and see when I get into the article here. I don't recall them ever calling out anyone by name, but they're trying to be more of a conservative Wyoming House and Senate, traditional values, things like that. So, but who are they? All right, well, maybe we'll find out. And by the way, that one that says no clowning around, there's a picture of a rodeo clown. It's artwork with a circle and a line draw through it. And it says, again, don't clown Wyoming. We deserve lawmakers with integrity. Okay. And that's all really that. Now, you can decide what you think integrity means because they didn't try to define it. But they're trying to lead Wyomingites a certain way when it comes to this election season. And I'm thinking, since most of this stuff started popping up this year, to my memory, most of it started popping up this year. If they were doing it before that, okay, but I don't particularly remember. I think it's mainly because they're in an election season, and yeah, they would like to steer Wyoming a certain way. We'll find out what that is. We'll look at that next hour along with your phone calls. We get into open phones. There is a winter weather advisory in the Bighorns. Don Day's on with me in just a couple of minutes from now to talk about the wet that we're going to get today and how the weather changes in the next couple of days.
And on the third day, God created the Remington bolt action rifle so that man could fight the dinosaurs. Amen.
Live and local, all across Wyoming. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods on K2 Radio. Join in at 888-97-WOODS or the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app.
Talk to Don Day from Day Weather. Don, a little bit of a rain and snow mix in Casper and north of there as well. And I know the Bighorn Mountains have a winter weather advisory right now.
They're under a winter storm warning.
Oh, yeah?
And,
okay.
Yeah, the northwest mountains of the state, eastern side of Yellowstone Park under winter weather advisories. I'm looking at a webcam up on the north end of the Bighorns right now, and it looks like a lot of snow has fallen overnight. We also had snow over Togety Pass, some snow on Teton Pass. It's spring is trying to get done, but it's not doing a very good job.
I came across an article that shows down in Colorado, ski resorts are still open and having a good time.
Yeah, it has not been a warm May. Okay. It's been pretty close to average. So the snow melt has not been quick or early this year, especially as you get above that 9,000 foot level. So, what's a ski area? I think it's A Basin, where they try to ski all the way into July, and they might be able to do it.
All right. Now, this weather we're experiencing, all of this wet here. So by tomorrow, we out of it?
No, we're going to be up and down.
Okay.
And I'm a little discouraged about how things are looking here over the next 4 to 5 days, because that nice pattern we all want to settle into, where it's just consistently warm and we just get into that early summer type of feel to things, we're just not there yet. We have a front every 2 days. So after this system moves out today, we do have a break in the weather tomorrow and into part of Thursday. But Thursday afternoon into Thursday night, it's going to get windy. We'll see some showers and thunderstorms, especially across the north. That'll make Friday a little cooler. Saturday, we'll see temperatures go up. Then another front comes in Sunday, and that'll send temperatures down, kick up the wind, and bring showers and storms. So we're just not going to be able to settle into anything consistently good weather-wise, I'm afraid, through Memorial Day. Now, after that, I think the middle of next week, I think we might be talking about that early summer pattern wanting to get started.
Okay, now when I take a look at all the wet we're getting, I am not going to complain about that. But what about southeast Wyoming?
Well, southeast Wyoming got a little rain, more than it's gotten lately, but it's amazing. You look at amounts of rain that are falling in a circle around southeastern Wyoming, it's pretty good. But the Cheyenne area is at this rate going to be well over 2 inches below average if we don't get any more rain in the southeast corner of the state. But the rest of the state, spring moisture isn't bad. It hasn't been bad at all.
In fact, when I take a look at northeast Wyoming, which I was worried about earlier this year, not so much right now.
No, and we can thank the dissipating El Nino and the burgeoning La Nina sending the storm track further north. And so the areas that were wet this winter, that was the southern areas, while the northern areas were dry. It's flipped because the changing pattern in the Pacific has allowed that jet stream to be more north now. And that's getting those areas that were dry wet. The areas that were wet are now drier.
All right. Thank you, Don. Dawn day with day weather. So, okay. Just takes us a little bit to get out of this, but then eventually we do. Off we go to, hang on, wrong one. There we go. Off we go to the Icebox, talk to Frank Gambino. So, Frank, I heard you mention something last hour about a pillow fight?
A pillow fight between the Rockies and the Oakland A's.
Okay.
So what I'm saying by a pillow fight is that these are two not very good teams, so they're just going to kind of hit each other with pillows.
Yes. See, now I would think that considering how bad both teams are, if they decided not to play baseball, but in fact had a pillow fight, that would actually get a lot more fans to show up in the stands.
Well, in Oakland, nobody goes.
No.
Because they're leaving for Las Vegas.
Oh, that you have told us about that.
They're going to Sacramento first, and then they're moving to Vegas. And everyone in Oakland goes, well, we're not going to even bother going to your games.
Yeah.
I mean, they draw like 4,000 people.
Oh.
So a pillow fight actually if they got 8,000 people to watch, that's double their attendance.
Sure. Now, I would say, let's add to this now. Not only is it a pillow fight between the two teams, but then the fans get involved as well. And we're allowed just to empty the stadium and everybody rush out onto the field and have a big pillow fight. Now you're selling tickets.
Yes. I've seen that somewhere.
There are pillow fight championships.
I've seen that, yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, these people are pounding each other. I mean, maybe they're using, feather pillows, like down,
right,
as opposed to those real heavy ones that have been like wet like 5 times, That would be cool.
I do seem to remember, I'll look it up while you're doing sports here, but I do seem to remember there was a pillow fight championship that took place in a boxing ring.
Oh,
yeah. And I figure, well, why the hell not?
Well, I know, yeah.
I mean, just go ahead. But, of course, you're not exactly looking for a knockout, although you do hope that one of the pillows busts open and feathers just go everywhere.
That would be the price worth the price of admission.
Okay. So they're only getting 4,000 people out there in Oakland. I mean, parking must be fantastic. And what's the price of beer?
Well, I know that the lowest ticket that you can get for that game tonight is $13.
Really? Oh, God. That's not even worth turning on the lights.
I know. They still have to play there because of their lease.
Okay. If that's what they have to do, good luck out there.
Yeah, good luck. In men's college basketball, new Wyoming coach Sundance Wicks has been busy getting players through the transfer portal, and he's going to need a few more. The latest three, first of all, 6'10" center Scotty Bube, who played 3 years at Southern Illinois, but started just one game in that time period, but he's got size and big size, and that's what UW needs. Forward Cole Henry will be joining the Cowboys, and he played 5 seasons at Northern Iowa. 6'9", averaged 5 points a game last season for UNI. And another incoming transfer is Jordan Nesbitt, who played 2 seasons at Hampton, also played a year at Memphis, also played a year at St. Louis. He's a 6'6" shooting guard who averaged 15 points a game last season. High school soccer season did end over the weekend. In 4A boys, Jackson beat Cheyenne Central 4-0 for the state championship. Central finished the year 17-2. Kelly Walsh was 15-6. Cheyenne East 10-7-3. Laramie 6-5-4. And Natrona was 6-13-1. Cheyenne South was 1-13-1. Boys high school track and field, there were 3 guys that won 3 events at the state meet over the weekend in Casper. Drake Plowman of Cokeville won the 800, the 1600, and the 3200 meter runs in 1A, and he won all 3 of those races last year, too, at the state meet. Gavin Stafford of Bighorn won the 100, the 200, and the long jump. And in 3A, Landers Reed McFadden won the 110 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, and the high jump. And the pole vault. In the 4A boys standings at the state track meet, Sheridan won the state title with Cheyenne Central 3rd with 64 points, Natrona 4th with 62, Kelly Walsh was 6th with 60 points, Laramie 12th with 21, Cheyenne East was 15th with 6. In the NFL, Denver Bronco second-year linebacker Drew Sanders tore his Achilles in the team's off-season program. Now, Sanders was a third-round draft pick last season out of Arkansas and played in 17 games for the Broncos last season with 24 tackles, and the expected recovery time for a torn Achilles is anywhere between 6 and 9 months. That's it in sports.
I'm sending you a link for this right now. It is the Pillow Fight Championship. They have this in a boxing ring. There's a men's and women's league. You've got to see the pillows that they use, though, because, of course, you have to have a logo on it. I mean,
the pillows are sponsored by somebody?
Yes, of course. Yeah. PFC, Pillow Fight Championship, is the world's first professional pillow fight league featuring professional fighters engaging in intense, fast-paced, all-age-friendly combat, unrivaled by any other professional sports entertainment or fighting organization.
Unrivaled,
yeah. And it looks just like a boxing ring. I mean, it's all the same thing as, and some of these guys, the way if you watch videos of this, the way they pillow fight, it looks kind of like a mixed martial arts pillow fight. I mean, they have some moves, Frank.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah, okay. I sent you the link to Facebook.
I will watch it.
Okay. Coming up on some local business. I'm not surprised. I might actually go to one of those, right? If you ever came here locally. Coming up on some local business that we have to take care of. News time, national, local update on the weather forecast. Open phones next hour of the program. Wake Up Wyoming. 8:06 the time. Wake Up Wyoming Tuesday. For a lot of people around Wyoming, it's a rain and snow mix right now. You're up in the Bighorn, especially in the northern part of the Bighorns. Well, you got severe weather going on right now, and that's winter weather. So springtime winter is not giving up without a fight.
Today's show is sponsored by Squid Flavored Donuts, bringing the flavor of the ocean to your breakfast pastry.
And since I'm trying to cut back on squid-flavored donuts, you guys can have the whole box. It's all on you. No. I insist, really. This is the most dangerous time every single day for this program. Open phones.
Warning. Wake Up Wyoming is about to enter daily open phones. This means that anyone will be allowed to call in and talk about anything. I mean, imagine if we actually allowed you on air to say anything you wanted. Scary, right? Well, we're just that brand of crazy. If you are offended by what other people think, then maybe you want to tune out right about now. Just saying. If you should choose to call, just remember, the more funny and interesting you are, the longer Glenn will keep you on the line. Obnoxious jerks will be hung up on. Dave. All right, strap in and let's do this thing.
888-97 Woods is the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Talk about what I'm talking about. Change the subject, fine by me. I'm making sure to play this several times throughout the morning. In Detroit, President Biden.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it.
Okay, so when he was vice president and Obama is in office, so that pandemic was really bad then, right? Is that how you remember it? Is that how you... Just one more time, just make sure we got this right.
And when I was vice president,
right?
Things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was...
Hang on. So, do you remember a pandemic when Obama was in office? All right, just moving on here.
Barack said to me, go to Detroit.
Yes.
And help fix it.
Okay, and so boy, is Detroit fixed, huh? All right, now something I played earlier this morning. I mean, this is right out of the gate. We're talking... 6:10, 6:15 this morning I started playing this. Let me say some of the other things Biden has said over the years.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
That 3 words.
Made in America.
Okay. So that's your President of the United States, and your Democrat Party must be really, and the media, sick and tired of covering for this guy.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Okay, and?
I was going to put him...
there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. And I've tried looking up that word many times over, but, okay, then there's...
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or,
okay.
Or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church.
I really do love it when he strays from the teleprompter.
We've always found ways to come together. We can find that unity again. Then the message said, end the message.
See, he wasn't supposed to read that part. I'm going to do that again. He wasn't supposed to read that part.
We've always found ways to come together. We can find that unity again. Then the message said, end a message.
I'm on Burgundy? Dad, who typed a question mark on the teleprompter? For the last time, anything you put on that prompter, Burgundy will read.
And of course... This means that Biden really does need a translator.
I mean, he has made clear that.
You guys just don't understand. What he's trying to say is, as long as the courtyard is available, then the car keys are going to be next to the chair. But when you have tomatoes that are not ripe when the lights are off, then nobody's going to know what happens when a basketball goal is not standing upright. But when you have a tree that's leaning over the fence, then it's only going to be like a parked car anyway. So just make sure that, when the door's closed, that the windows are always on fire, because it's not going to happen unless the turnkey to the turtle is on the back of its shell on a Tuesday.
See, now I am so glad we had this little discussion here. All right. 888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Of course, you can talk about what I'm talking about. Change the subject. That's just fine by me. Start us off. Hey, Jude.
I want to give my condolences to Harriet Hegman for her sister. I didn't know about the funeral. I would have went up. Earlier, you were talking about Wyoming slowly emerging from the shadows.
Yeah.
Don't clown around Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the gentlemen that is brought up in this article, Steve Bray, I know him personally.
Okay.
And he is a good man. He's highly conservative, very, very intelligent, and probably one of the better people in politics right now around Casper. So I'm not buying this, that these guys are fledgling idiots and blah, blah, blah. From what I'm seeing on their websites and stuff, they've got it pegged. I mean, Lane Allred, low integrity. Ocean, Andrew, House District 46, questionable. I can go on with that. Chadwick, he doesn't follow the platform. Sweeney never followed the Republican platform. Anderson doesn't. Harshman doesn't. Overmuller doesn't. There's a lot of them, like I say, a long time ago, Democrats running as Republicans because they know they're not going to get elected. Okay, secondly, when I came across the article in the Cowboys, or was it on the
Cowboy State Daily?
One of the web,
yeah,
one of the other sites were saying, if you want to get in on the voting, you better change your party right now to Republican so you can vote. You know, this is what exactly Chuck Gray was trying to avoid, was this kind of stuff, Democrats voting in Republican stuff. And that needs to stop, and I mean big time. But anyway, that's where I was going to go with this. And then, of course, you read about Cohen steals over $190,000 from Trump. And there's a judge throws out the expert witness yesterday. Their case is falling apart, and I love it. I've been watching it forever. Anyway, that's my morning. I was going to call you yesterday, but the rain just had me down.
Oh, it did, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, what happened with Harriet Hagman? I don't know what.
I guess her sister had died.
Oh, okay.
And they had a funeral, and Alaman attended. I know Chuck Gray did. I know Dan Sabrowski did, and a lot of other people, because it was kind of a private thing, but a lot of our good guys attended to let her know that we support her. And she's doing a great job. I've been watching her in committees this last couple of weeks, and I'm telling you what, she put that old Dan Goldman on his heels yesterday, and because after all, he coached Cohen before he went in to testify in the court. Oh, we're finding out all kinds of stuff. Goldman, and then Adam Schiff is involved in this. The judge's daughter is getting paid by these guys. I mean, it's just one big old cluster, you know.
Okay.
And I hope it gets all exposed. You know, Q once said, I'm not a big Q supporter, but he said, all that's been hidden will be revealed. By God,
find it
is.
really interesting. Not surprising, but interesting. So let's take the case that Trump is going through right now in court, literally right now. If you take a look at the way Fox News covers it, and then go take a look at having sat in the courtroom and seen the same thing the way MSNBC covers it, it's hysterical to see the two very extreme points of view from two totally different news networks out there. They're both watching the same thing, but the headlines are completely opposite.
Well, and on MSNBC, what is it, Lester Holt or something said, oh, well, Cohen took the money because he felt he didn't get a big enough bonus. So that makes his 7 felonies okay, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I follow this guy called Robert Gouveia, and he's an attorney down in Arizona. And there's a guy in the courtroom who gives us a blow-by-blow of everything happening on his laptop. That's why the judge threw everybody out yesterday, because they found out this guy is giving out all of the information about the judge accusing, what is his name, Costello, of staring him down and making him feel all weird, and he clears the courtroom out. This judge should not be a judge.
Right.
In fact, he should be indicted. I mean, I know lawyers take an oath of office. I'm sure judges do, too.
Oh, absolutely.
And this guy has stepped all over that.
All right. See what happens. I think it's over pretty soon.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And down in Florida, that case is on hold because Jack Smith got caught tampering with evidence, and those pictures that they showed of Trump's classified laid out all in a beautiful little, thing. That was all staged by Jack Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge is not having any of that. So she put the whole thing on hold because this Jack Smith, he was not even appointed by the proper system to make him a prosecutor for this. It's blowing up, too. So, hey, 2024, let's vote for our good guys. Let's clean up our Wyoming rolls, too. We have a lot of rhinos in our parties. And I, for one, I'm going to start following these guys. I think they've got I think it's pretty good.
Okay, I'll explain to everybody who they are coming up next. Thank you, Judy. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
The thing that I miss the most about living in Denver is the fact that you can have a Target, a dispensary, and a strip club, and a Chick-fil-A all in the same parking lot.
I'm gonna pretend like that didn't happen, and everything will be A-okay.
Well, that image is going to stick with you all day. Glenn Woods. He talks to you, not at you. Be part of the show at 888-97-WOODS. This is Wake Up Wyoming on K2 Radio.
8:23 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Back to the phones I go. By the way, 888-97-WOODS, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Sonia's on the phone. Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Life is good. What you got for me?
I wanted to share a message of good news with the world.
Okay.
That Donald Trump is Jesus Christ.
Okay. How do you think he is Jesus Christ?
Because he talks to me, he comes to me in dreams, and he has shared that with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it is his will that I share that with the world, with everything that's going on in the world. And as crazy as things are, he is in control. Jesus Christ is in control. And he is Donald Trump.
Now, but do you understand a lot of people listening right now can't really take that seriously, that he is Jesus Christ. They can't take your telephone call seriously.
That's possible, and I understand that. And I'd just like to share a few things.
Okay.
I do have a YouTube channel, Let the Light Shine Out of the Darkness, where every single video that I've made was by the direction of the Lord Jesus Christ,
okay.
And it is the truth. Donald Trump, if you look it up, it actually means ruler of the world. Donald, ruler of the world, graced by God. And if you look at his signature, it is in the shape of a crown because he is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. And have you ever known anyone to be more persecuted?
Well, that
Donald
you
Trump,
certainly
other than
have
Jesus
that.
Christ?
Yeah. They really haven't seen anyone in my lifetime be as persecuted as this. But now I used to get at the radio studio these books from it was a Christian publisher. And these books were rather thick, hardcover books. And they were saying that there is biblical prophecy that Trump would become president. And
there is.
Yeah. Is that where you're getting this from?
No.
Okay.
He communicates with me directly, and
okay.
He gives me dreams and has given me prophecies that I have made into videos to share with the world.
Okay.
And I'm able to, at times, speak with him one-on-one.
Where do you live?
I live in Sidney, Nebraska.
Oh, Sidney. Oh, okay. So, yeah, are you able to listen on KGAB then?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
okay.
I enjoy your program
Yeah, I
when
appreciate
I'm able
that.
to listen to it.
Okay. Well, I went ahead and looked up your YouTube page over here. You've got
right.
quite a few videos on there that people can go ahead and take a look at if they're interested in what you have to say. So I guess that means that you're a churchgoer, and I wonder what maybe your pastor might think about what you're saying.
It's not well received.
Okay.
And I grew up, of course, going to Sunday school, but I think a lot of what I learned wasn't necessarily the truth. That being reborn of the Spirit in the Bible actually does mean reincarnation.
Okay.
And Jesus Christ was Egyptian. He was known to be the Egyptian. And Egyptians do believe in reincarnation. And so there is a misunderstanding. And so Jesus Christ has always been with us since he was born of a virgin birth.
Right.
And he was Pharaoh Narmer, King Narmer, and people can go and look that up.
So let me give you an idea. Paul and Casper, Rhiannon in Fort Danger, and Reefer, who's in Carpenter, Wyoming, are all very conservative listeners to this program, and they're having a hard time believing what you're saying. And they're Trump supporters.
Yeah, and I understand that. And my only suggestion is, I guess, I would love it if they would just start viewing some of my videos on my YouTube channel and pray about it before you watch the videos. One of the latest videos I made is the Stormy Daniels case against Donald Trump and all the indictments. And he is innocent. And there is very strong evidence that Stormy Daniels herself actually died, passed away in 2004. And what you are seeing, most everything that you are seeing on television right now is artificial intelligence, CGI, and actors and doubles.
What about
and it's not real.
If Trump is Jesus, what about the fact that he's been married several times?
Okay, so that's another one of my videos.
Okay.
Donald Trump had an identical twin brother.
Gotcha. Okay.
He had and he had one. Donald Trump was known as the kingly Messiah, and then the Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, is the priestly Messiah, the Savior.
All right. I got to run to news time, Sonia. I got.
Okay,
this is called a hard break. They're going to cut me off if I don't wrap up the call. Thank you for calling in this morning. This gives people something to think about. They can certainly go check out your page. I appreciate it. All right. Hey, hold those calls. Wait till the news and information break. Then go ahead and chime in. And I see all the people texting me on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
On Thursday.
Covering world-ending catastrophes for years to come. It's Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods. Find content, chat live, and listen on demand on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app.
Well, that got a lot of reaction. Let me explain before I take the next caller real quick here. And sing along, Ray. So hang on, Greg, and I'll... Of course, Greg and Laramie is next up here. Yeah, a lady from Nebraska just called, Sonia, and she claims that Trump is Jesus. And she seemed very serious about it. But was it a real call or a put-on? I don't know. And I'm getting a lot of reaction from a lot of different people here who are hardcore conservatives who can't believe that the call was real. I was not putting you on. Mary was not putting you on. I don't know if the caller was or not. Okay. Greg, morning.
Glenn, I just
Yes.
tell you, I was calling it anyway, but you went from a tinfoil hat to a tinfoil castle.
Oh, my God. Okay. Well, you know. Hey, let's not forget, though, there were people, and I can show you the video of this, who thought that Obama was the Messiah. So there's this cult of personality that pops up from time to time that I never understand, Greg. I can't understand it, but all right.
I don't understand the whole Jesus Christ thing anyway. But I did want to call in again. You were, you were talking about Biden and his list of whatever. But I think we should really talk about that Trump trial, as Trump kept opining that he would get on the stand, and of course, Trump lies again. He's just an absolute liar every time, and I just find it astounding that the people of Wyoming back this guy, a Queens con man. Again, though, the lady from Sydney, I think the Freedom Caucus, maybe Chuck Gray will bring her over to Wyoming and run her in some of these elections. I think she could get elected in Wyoming.
Yeah.
I really do.
Now, here's the thing, though, Greg, as you find it astounding that people in Wyoming would support Trump. But just to be fair, there are people who find it astounding that you support Biden.
Well, again, when you get down in your media, holes, we thought the internet would expand education, but it just allowed people to drive into a canyon.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
I also don't want to speak ill of the dead. She was, but it was an open. I actually walked by when the eulogies were given, and there was a terrible thunderstorm that happened. I didn't know whether the lightning was meant for me or meant for her.
Well, yeah, probably meant for you, Greg. Let's face it. No, I find try doing this sometime, Greg. It's a very interesting exercise. It takes a little practice, but do this. Next time there's a big controversy and conservatives take one side and liberals take another side, find a way to mentally remove yourself from both. Okay, you don't care. You're not on anybody's side. Step back and watch. And you want to talk about a really interesting and new perspective. I always find it, I'm not really following this whole Trump trial right now, but I do find it funny to, when something happens in the courtroom, I go read what Fox News says about it. Then I go read what MSNBC says about it. And they were both watching the same thing, but each of them puts their own spin on it. And to me, it's just hysterical.
Well, I love the spin too. However, it's damaging to our country to be listening to polarized views, whether it be one side or the other. And yes, I guess I'm despised by the left and the right.
Yes,
and maybe you will be too. But man, I tell you what, that person sounded dead earnest.
Okay,
just like Judy's dead earnest.
So you think she was serious? Okay, but just so you know.
Well, you don't put up those videos, do you? I haven't looked at the videos.
She does have a bunch of videos. I got to go watch a few of them. Philip in Casper says, the Jesus lady makes more sense than Greg. So that's Philip.
That tells you all you need to know.
There you go. Okay.
I feel sorry for Philip.
Thanks for calling, Greg. I appreciate it. All right, 888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Rianne from Fort Danger. Trump derangement syndrome, this is getting old. Tim says, also heard Obama was the Antichrist. Oh, I did hear that too, yes. To be fair about it, there were those people, and I can show you video, who actually thought that Obama was the Messiah. But there were also people who thought that Obama was the Antichrist. Myron in Cheyenne, I know you say, okay, she's, okay. I just have to edit your language, Myron. I know you can't say this on air, but holy blank, she is blank, blank crazy. Donald Trump is far from being Jesus Christ. He does not have any Christ-like qualities. Kindness on it. Well, and when I asked about, hey, he's been married a couple of times and has kids, what about that? Well, that's his twin brother. Let's see, Mama Bear, what is her YouTube channel? Let me see if I can go ahead and look that up again, Mama Bear, because she said so and I was looking at it, but then I clicked it off. And if I can't find it right away here, then I will go back and send you a link to it, because I'll have to go back. Oh, here it is. Wait. For those who want to see her YouTube channel, Let the Light Shine Out of the Darkness. Okay, Let the Light Shine Out of the Darkness. That's her YouTube channel. Now, there's a couple of other things named that, but that's the name of her YouTube channel, Let the Light Shine Out of the Darkness. You can go ahead and look that up. Let's see. This is a perfect name. Mothership 574. This woman is off her rocker. To even suggest that Donald Trump is Jesus is blasphemy. I was just waiting for her to say she was joking. Well, that's where I would say, I mean, it's so unusual. But remember now, I was saying this to her, and this is what makes me think I don't know if she is serious or not. I don't know. But, yeah, I was receiving books, really big, thick, hardcover books that were well done, very well done as far as the publishing quality. But these were books that were claiming from a Christian organization that Donald Trump's election was prophesied in the Bible. And I kept sending the books back to the publishing house saying, please, I'm not going to interview your authors or anybody else. Please stop. They finally did. See, Medieval Knievel. There was a local talk show host in Reno not long ago I really liked. His theory was if he thought someone's argument was crazy, you just let him talk. Eventually they prove it. Yes, in fact, one of the things I found, and I took this from one of my favorite talk show hosts of all time, Neil Bortz. When somebody is just being a jerk and their opinion is just outrageously stupid, let them talk. Give them as much rope as they want to hang themselves. And they do. I've experienced it. They do. Sheepdog says, cute. I'd say I'm waiting for the punchline, but you led with it. Could you repeat her YouTube site, please? And then also, a scary thing is she votes. That's Mike from Leeds, South Dakota. Let's see. Paul, Dave from San Francisco's sister, twice removed. Don and Casper, Sonia's call is exactly the fuel the opposition uses to paint Trump supporters as nuts and whack jobs. I would have it known that she doesn't represent the vast majority of us. Thanks. And DJ and Mills, mental illness speaking. It's a mockery of the gospel. Trump isn't Christ. This is blasphemy. So, yeah, we were getting a whole lot of stuff like that while she was talking. Her, again, for those who want to see her YouTube page, Let the Light Shine Out of the Darkness. Now, be careful. There's a couple of other things by that title, videos. So you're looking for the YouTube page that's called Let the Light Shine Out of the Darkness. And you can go ahead and watch some of her videos and see what you think of that. Well, that was interesting. Can you see why I love my job?
The only show broadcasting from a bunker under Devil's Tower. Hey, it's cold down here. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods, 6 a.m. weekdays on AM 1030 and FM 95.1.
Icebox talk to Frank Gambino. So, Frank, I have a theory, and I know that my theory is absolutely not true, but I'm going with it anyway.
All right.
All right.
Everyone has a theory.
Sure. The movie that Blazing Saddles took place in the town of Rock Ridge.
Rock Ridge.
Okay. In Wyoming, we have Rock River.
Yeah, and
Now,
Rock Springs.
Yes. I don't think that Mel Brooks ever went to Rock River. However, so we're talking in the 1890s here. Okay. Well, that's when Wyoming became a state, 1890s. The story takes place in 1874. So, and the railroad tracks are going right through that area.
Mm-hmm.
And the landscape looks about right.
Okay.
And, you know, instead of, well, it's Rock River, I mean, it's close enough.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, also, there were Indians in the area that were harassing, you know, the white people, trying to get them out of there.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing I don't know is I don't seem to remember a Indian chief with a Yiddish accent. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Don't think that happened there. And yet, as I went through, even when I take a look at who was working on the railroad at that time, including some of the Chinese people and so on.
And Irish, too.
Irish
Yeah,
and so on.
yeah.
All of that was going on in that area at the time. So I've had a theory for a long time that Wyoming's Rock River is actually the town in Blazing Saddles. I have no proof. I think I'm wrong, but I'm going with it anyway.
Okay. We're not going to ask for any proof, you know.
No, whatsoever.
It's okay. It's okay.
Why would you ask for proof about that?
Well, I mean,
Yes,
did they?
okay.
We should find out. You go on those movie websites at IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll tell you where it was shot.
The guy, well, I know.
Probably in
No,
California,
it tells
sure.
No, it was shot mostly on a lot in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But what town was it supposed to be? And also, they kept talking about the area being a territory. It was not a state.
Right.
So that's, again, if they're in a territory during that time and all of this is going on, then that would a good chance be Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I'll take that, yeah.
Yeah, it all kind of comes together for me. So I've decided every time I go through Rock River in Wyoming, I'm thinking, well, that's the town in the movie there. Even though if I were to ask Mel Brooks, he would say, never heard of the place.
Pretty much. College basketball, new Wyoming men's coach Sundance Wicks busy getting players through the transfer portal, and that's always a busy scene, players coming and going. The latest three guys is one is 6'10" center Scotty Abube, who played 3 years at Southern Illinois, started one game there, but he's got some size, and Wyoming always could use some size. Forward Cole Henry will be joining the Pokes. He played 5 seasons at Northern Iowa. He's 6'9", averaged 5 points a game last season for UNI. Another incoming transfer is Jordan Nesbitt, who played 2 seasons at Hampton, and he played a year at Memphis, then he played a year at St. Louis. He's a 6'6" shooting guard, but he's got experience, and he averaged 15 points a game last season. High school soccer season did end over the weekend for 4A boys. Jackson beat Cheyenne Central 4-0 for the state championship. Central finished the year 17-2. Kelly Walsh was 15-6. Cheyenne East 10-7-3. Laramie went 6-5-4. Natrona was 6-13-1. Cheyenne South was 1-13-1. High school track and field, there were 3 guys that won 3 events at the state meet in Casper over the weekend. Drake Plowman of Cokeville won the 800, the 1600, and the 3200 meter runs in 1A and won all 3 of those races last year at the state meet. Gavin Stafford of Bighorn won the 2A 100, 200, and the long jump. And in 3A, Landers Reed McFadden won the 110 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, and also finished first in the pole vault. In the 4A team standings at the state track meet, Sheridan won the state title. Cheyenne Central was 3rd with 64. Natrona 4th with 62. Kelly Walsh 6th with 60. Laramie was 12th with 21. And Cheyenne East was 15th with 6 points. In the NFL, the Denver Broncos second-year linebacker Drew Sanders tore his Achilles in the team's off-season workout program. Sanders was a 3rd-round draft pick last season out of Arkansas and played in 17 games for the Broncos this past season with 24 tackles. The expected recovery time is anywhere from 6 to 9 months. Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies will start a 3-game pillow fight in Oakland tonight. The Rockies are 15-31, which is the worst mark in the National League. Oakland is 19-30, and they have the second worst record in the American League. And that's it in sports.
I just accidentally found a sign, which I think most people, ranchers in Wyoming, need.
Yeah, need.
It says, cow pictures are free. So if you want to take a picture
of a cow,
that's absolutely free. But the bull charges. Get it? Yeah?
Everybody funny.
Everybody funny.
They're
all right,
funny
thank
too,
you, Frank.
yeah.
So coming up on I'm still getting messages about our caller, about Trump being Jesus here. Let's see, Old Goat and Casper. I like Greg, the Liberals comment, point out okay, so that's an I like Greg. Okay. I'll read your entire comment. And Scott's Bluff. Okay, I think, he just gave me a thumbs up for that. All right, so people are still answering the call we just got a moment ago. If you want to jump in on that, you can either text me off the Wake Up Wyoming app by hitting the chat option or call the show as soon as we're done with this news and information break. 888-97 Woods, 888-97 WOODS. Wake Up Wyoming. Six the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. My name's Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. It is a Tuesday. It is open phones.
Today's show is sponsored by Squid Flavored Donuts, bringing the flavor of the ocean to your breakfast pastry.
Just so you know, I'm cutting back so you can have the entire box of Squid Flavored Donuts. I don't mind. You go right ahead.
Warning, this show contains reference to guns, liberty, limited government, low taxation, the cult of climate change, free thinking, cigar smoking, short people, rubber chickens, Karen's bureaucracy, liberal buzzwords, tour runs, traffic, toilets, terrible jokes, and more. No apologies will be issued. Guest callers may express any opinion they want without fear of being canceled. Unless you're a loudmouth jerk like Dave, then Glenn will hang up on you. Strap in, hold on to your coffee, and feel free to participate.
This disclaimer does not refer to every person named Dave, just one particular Dave from San Francisco. We know a lot of Daves. They call this show all the time, and they're great people. So don't call this program and complain that we use your name. That would be a real Dave move, Dave.
All right, 888-97 Woods, the phone number. That's 888-97 WOODS. Still getting reaction, which, by the way, you can always call the show, 888-97 Woods, and talk about anything. But other people, and I've got a lot of people, especially after that last caller I took, who are texting me. So what you do is you go to your, wherever you download an app, to whatever device, usually your phone, and in your app store, type Wake Up Wyoming. There it is. It downloads. It's all free. There's a lot of things you can do with it. One of them is hit the chat option and send me text messages. And that's a lot of people you hear me responding to during the course of this program. So if you missed it, lady from Nebraska called, Sonia, and she claims that she believes that Trump is Jesus, literally. Now, real call or not, I don't know. She seemed pretty sincere. She has a whole YouTube page about it, but I don't know. I'm not on that end. I don't know if that's a real call or not. And the people who are Trump supporters, hardcore conservatives, are sending me notes going, what the hell is this? Because they don't go that far with it. And I did mention to the lady, Sonia, who called, and this is true, I used to get books in the studio all the time in the mail. Really well-bound, hardcover books, nice covers, and they were, some of them were novels, other were books where they would make a political or social or spiritual point. And in many of them, they were claiming that the election of Trump was biblical prophecy. So when I listen to Trump derangement syndrome, you've all heard that phrase before, Trump derangement syndrome. I look at it from two different points of view. There are people who are deranged for and people who are deranged against. That's a very typical thing. But I also go, see, I really get bothered whenever I see cult-like behavior. So during the Obama years, there was the cult of Obama. And there were people who honestly believed that he was the Messiah. In fact, I can show you, I'd have to dig it up, it's been a while, but I can show you video of people in a church who were Obama supporters and they were praying to Obama. Then there were those people on the other side who honestly believed that Obama was Antichrist. And ministers were preaching that he was. So, yeah, there's cults of personalities that develop that always have me concerned. Getting back to more of a serious subject. Ron is in Cheyenne. Morning, Ron.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just got a couple things that, one thing, I really enjoy your morning show.
Thank you.
It's really a pleasure having you. I just wanted to share a couple things with everybody who's listening. The first thing is, of course, I'm trying to buy a new house. So I'm going down all these streets. The houses are $500,000 to $700,000 for something that I need to have the size and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I notice, almost all the streets are just patch on top of patch, potholes. It's really sad how you got this beautiful house, and then all the city streets are just trashed. It's just amazing how the Band-Aid approach just don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And, I just wanted to share that. We need somebody that can actually get something done. And I thought we had a city manager at one time. I may be wrong, but didn't the city put a manager on board to kind of help with that?
I think so.
Sure
and
doing it.
Cheyenne has had a pothole problem for a very long time. In fact, I even remember, and I was arguing, this is a few years back, they had asked for a tax, temporary, raise a penny, get a tax going, to have some money set aside to fix those potholes. And then finally, when they got the money to do it, the money just sat there and the work wasn't getting done. And so at some point, you got to ask the city of Cheyenne, what's the problem? Because even when you do have the money, you're not getting the job done.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Remember you said, where's the money going?
Yeah.
And that is always crossed my mind every time I see that. So I get really mad. I don't want to spend that kind of money. And it just, the streets are just, the curbs are busted up. And it just makes Cheyenne look really poor. And, it just makes this town look so poor. I've lived here my whole life. I'm 64 years old.
Yeah. And Cheyenne is not a poor city. It has.
And it's starting to look like that.
Yeah, it starting is. Okay. All right, Ron.
It is. I got one.
Go ahead.
I got one more thing. If
Go
you
ahead.
don't mind. Okay. Yesterday I was walking my little dog around Holiday Park.
Yeah.
All right. I noticed these people. They had some kind of pit bull lab mixed dog, pretty big. They thought, well, they'll just take it off their leash and stick it on these little poor baby squirrels playing. Well, of course, you know what happened. It took off. It killed a squirrel.
Right.
And I thought that was really sad, And then I got about another 50 feet. There's people with their dog. It's pooping in the grass. They were just laughing. They just walked off. Mm-hmm. And I got about halfway around the lake, and there's another pit bull off its chain who started running towards my little dog.
Okay.
And not on its leash or nothing. And I just thought, oh, my God, this is just crazy.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to share that.
All right. Control your dog.
Yesterday.
All right. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. Well, now, let's real quick when it comes to it, Cheyenne does have a pothole problem, and it has for quite a while. Being more of the libertarian guy, I really don't want government to do a whole lot because they're not capable of it. And this is why I say government doesn't know how to fix so many things because they're not experts in all of these different issues. No, they don't know how to fix your health care. Okay. And many other things that government cannot fix the climate. As much as they claim we're going to fix the climate for it. They don't know how to fix the climate. They don't know what they're doing. No human being, no group of human beings knows how to fix the climate. That's nonsense. Really, as far as the city goes, it's very basic. So for anybody who might be a mayor or a city councilman, most of what you do, you shouldn't be doing. From the libertarian perspective, you're not really supposed to be doing this. Most of what you're supposed to be doing is, well, let's see, police and fire, fine. That's what you're supposed to do as a city. A few basic codes and rules and regulations, fine. Oh, and fill the potholes. Keep the streets looking good and operating functionally, Just a few basic things is all a city's supposed to be doing. So much of what city councils tend to get involved in is really nothing to do with what a city council should be doing. If city councils got back to just the few things they're supposed to be doing, you would never have to worry about a street being all torn up and a city saying, well, we don't know what to do here. We don't have the money. We don't have the manpower. We're going broke. Well, you wouldn't be. But the reason you are, as a city, going broke and always on the edge of financial problems is because you're financially involved in so many projects that you should not be involved in. There's the problem. It's not that hard. Again, police and fire, take care of a few basic city things like codes, courts to settle our disputes, and keep the roads paved. It's not all that hard. I haven't played this song in a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pothole Song.
Listen to me. Can you rock me, baby, like a pothole? But don't leave me on the side of the road. Hey, I want you to rock. I want you to rock. I want you to rock. I want you, yeah. I want you to rock. I want you to rock. I want you to rock me like a pothole.
Listen to Glenn Woods anywhere you roam with the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
Coming up on 922, it's Wake Up Wyoming. Phone number to get involved, 888-97-WOODS. That's 888-97-WOODS. You can talk about what I'm talking about, change the subject, fine by me. Headline, California college holding 5 segregated graduations. When I was young, I remember we were working so hard to not do that. Dr. Martin Luther King had it right when he said he judged a man by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And we were working so hard to come together as a nation and not do this segregation thing anymore. And lo and behold, here comes the left who's working to segregate us again, tear us apart again. A California college, the story says, has found a municipal way of segregating students and glorify wokeness with segregating their graduations, including illegal aliens who are graduating and the LGB alphabet soup group. Story says leftists are always looking to divide people into artificial classes based on external or invented characteristics, endorsing groupthink and quashing the ability to see individuals instead of what they're doing now. They see these groups they've created. So Pasadena City College will celebrate undocumented graduation for illegal aliens. Lavender graduation, there's 2. Black graduation, Asian Pacific Islander graduation. Latin graduation. Okay, we're all at 5 here. I don't see anyone for just your average white person. So, and it talks about where they're going to have the school states. The undocumented graduation celebrates our undocumented students, illegal immigrants, and their education success, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, once again, why would you do this? This was as bad as, I remember, again, when I was very young, universities started to make dorm rooms where they didn't separate anybody by race. If you're going to go to college, you're going to stay in a dorm. All right, your roommates are who they are, and you're going to have to live with people of all sorts of different backgrounds and races and cultures and so on. But the whole idea was to bring everybody together and get us over this idea of segregating and difference, and it worked well. The military did the same thing. Where, whatever you thought whatever you were taught when you were growing up, you're in the military now, and everybody's a soldier. So, or Marine or whatever you might be. You get the idea. But then I started noticing, and this was just within the past, decade or maybe a little bit more, universities started to have dorm rooms where they were once again segregating. And this time the excuse was, well, we don't want any of these minorities to be hurt by white people. And sometimes they're just triggering. And so we got to go separate people out. I thought it was bad enough when I was a kid that we would have prom, and there would be the prom king and queen. But then they had to do the African-American prom king and queen. And I thought, why can't you just have prom king and queen? If we're trying to sort this out and not do this anymore, then let's do that. So we don't have a separation anymore, but we're all together as Americans. Together. It doesn't matter what someone's, not just race is, but their religion or whatever their background might be, what part of the country they come from. We're Americans. So now, however, there are some schools out there that have a prom king and queen, and it's more than just 2 groups. They separate them into multiple groups. And I'm looking at it again and go, what are you doing here? Why are we doing this? Why can't we just go back to what we work so hard to do? And that was just bring everybody together. And again, we're all Americans here. But of all people tearing this up, it's the left that's doing it. Rhiannon Ford Danger, wow, that sounds just like the crap from the 1950s. Way to set us back, California. Yeah. I really do think that is a massive setback. And again, I go to the words of Dr. King when he said, we judge a person by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And for that matter, I don't care how old or young they are or what their religion might be or might not be. If they have a religion at all, I don't care. I'm just looking for someone who's a person of good character. And yes, I can define what that is. It's actually not that hard to define what good character is. You're talking about someone who is honest, not lying. They don't steal. They don't manipulate people. Do you get the idea? Basic stuff like that. Hardworking people who make their own way, who are not a burden on society. That kind of thing. Those are people of good character. And those are the kind of people that you want to let into your life and make friends out of. Instead of what's happening here, which is working to divide us, especially when you have 5 separate graduation ceremonies, that's working to divide us. And that's not creating a good community at all. So for those people who want to be inclusive, is this your idea of inclusivity? Because that's not what you're creating here. Instead, you're sowing exactly the opposite and destroying decades of hard work by really good people, which is why I've mentioned while talking about this Dr. King several times over. decent, good people like him worked so hard and gave everything, including his life, to bring us all together. And this is what you're doing. All right. We got lots to fix, folks. Coming up on some local news that we have to take care of right after local news update on the weather forecast, and you and I get back into it. Another segment of Open Phones, 888-97-WOODS. That's 888-97-WOODS. You can talk about what I'm talking about, change the subject, fine by me. I'll just kind of roll with the whole thing. That's what the program is about. Oh, don't forget, this show becomes a podcast when I'm done. So you can go to your Wake Up Wyoming app. On the toolbar, touch On Demand, touch Wake Up Wyoming, select the episode, and we take out news, sports, weather, most of the commercials to condense it so it's not a 4-hour show all along. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
On Thursday.
Want to talk to Glenn? Call 888-97-WOODS or chat him on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
.36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. So I just got done telling you about a California college that is doing graduation with 5 different graduation ceremonies because they're separating people out, rather than just having one big graduation ceremony. So by ethnicity, for one thing, sexuality, things like that. They're making 5 different graduations. And my point is, we work so hard to bring people together, and as I honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, judge a man by the content of his character, not the color of his skin. We worked so hard when I was a kid to bring everybody together. Now, Bert in Cheyenne says, "Hi, Glenn. This story brought back memories of going to school in 1964. See, here's the thing, Bert. That's when I was born. Charleston, South Carolina is where he was. He said the first 2 black students in that elementary school were in my class. The reaction was both good and bad. Now, I'm going to tell a story, Bert, that I haven't told in a little while. But this is a true story, what happened in my high school. So here I was in class, and I think it was 1982, right? And I graduated in 83, so it was 1982, I think it was. And the classroom had just sort of separated into different groups. Not because the teacher said so, but everybody was sitting in their cliques. You had the preps in one area, the rednecks were in another area. There were the black kids in another group. But, like that. You understand. We're all separated out. In a pretty good-sized classroom because my school was full at the time. We had a lot of people in that school. Well, the principal shows up, sticks his head, nothing bad, but says to the teacher, "Need you for just a moment." And she says, "Okay." And she turns as she's stepping out of the room and says, "Okay, best behavior, everybody." And she walks out in the hallway to talk to the principal. Now, I'm sitting dead center in the middle of the class, not in any particular group. And I'm listening through my right ear in the back of the class. I'm hearing the black kids in the class telling a white joke. And they were whispering and giggling. And I turned around and said purposefully a little too loud, "Are you telling a white joke?" They got embarrassed and, oh, my God, trying to talk the way out of it. But then one of the girls, who was more of the preppy type girls, stood up and said, "I've never heard a white joke before." The whole class, including the rednecks, everybody, we all went to the back corner of that room. And they were scared. And we're like, no, it's okay. We've never heard a white joke. So one of them finally said, "Well, okay." And he told the joke, and all I can tell you is very wrong and very inappropriate. Very inappropriate. And we laughed. And so one of the other kids said, "Okay, if you thought that was funny," and he tells a white joke that's even worse. It's bad. Oh, he could have gotten in so much trouble if the teacher had heard that joke. And we laughed. Next thing you know, you got rednecks telling preppy jokes. Preppies telling redneck jokes. You see what's happening here? Everybody's telling jokes about every other group, and we're all having a good time. And what we're doing is we're bonding them. Now, at some point, the teacher comes back into the room and yells, "What are you doing?" "Oh, no, nothing. We're just telling jokes," and we all went back to our seats. I noticed over the rest of that semester, when everybody went into the classroom and sat down, we all still sat down in our little cliques. All right. But out in the hallways, people had made friends. Barriers had been broken across not just different cliques, but even racial identities had fallen apart. And everybody was just making friends with everybody else. What tore it down, tore those walls down and brought everybody together, is that we were having very inappropriate fun with each other. And we found out that actually, everybody's pretty cool. It's all right. All the bad things that we say about this other group aren't true. Everybody was having a good time. Friends were made. Relationships were made. Not because we separated people and punished someone because of microaggressions and stuff like that, but the opposite of that happened. Very much the opposite. Which to this day makes me say that I think one of the best ways to break down barriers is not to punish people for microaggressions, but just the opposite. Not to have separate graduation ceremonies like this college is doing, but just the opposite of all that. Bring everybody together, make us work together, and show us how to get along. Jan and Cheyenne, these people have parents and grandparents that are not happy with their children. I would guess so. No, I would say that that's probably the case, which I'll go back. I know I've said it several times. I'll say it again. Dr. Martin Luther King had it right. You judge a person by the content of their character. And yes, I can define what good character is. And that should be the only thing. If there's a person who is not of good character, it's okay for you to look down on them or be angry with them or whatever the case is. But if they're of good character, bring that person into your life. Nothing else, I would think, really matters.
Welcome to the life of an adult child. You wake up, it's time for coffee. Take a shower, it's time for coffee. Go to work, it's time for coffee. Get fired, it's time for coffee. And by 5 o'clock, it should be time for coffee.
Yep, there you have it. A new level of crazy. And you heard it here first. Wake Up Wyoming goes anywhere you do with the Wake Up Wyoming app. Free download for Apple and Android. This is K2 Radio.
9:48's the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Off to the icebox we go. Frank Gambino is waiting by. Okay, Frank. Every so often, someone comes into a place just to test to see, let's say how smart people are, right? This is a Home Depot.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Guy walks in and sees a bunch of young people working there, which is good, young people with jobs. And, of course, if you ask someone at Home Depot where is something, they can use the Home Depot app on their phone.
And they find it pretty fast.
To help you find it pretty fast. So let's see if you can hear what he asked for. I'll turn this up really loud.
Excuse me, can you guys help me find a tool? A left-handed hammer?
Okay, so what do you think happened?
Did they actually go looking for it?
Yes.
I would say, here is a hammer, and it is in my right hand.
Yes,
I'm going to hit you over the head with it.
They all start looking on their phones. One of them, there's like 4 of them. One of them finally stops and goes, oh, God. The rest of them just keep on looking. Left-handed hammer. What the heck? Now, I did say to someone just recently, I've got to go to the store here. I got to pick up a 2x4. And I said, I did that once. I accidentally picked up a 4x2. And he stood there for a second and went, oh, yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
do people have nothing better to do?
No. Sometimes, Frank, though, it is just, I think it's funny.
As long as they're in on the joke eventually.
Well, yeah, to catch people off guard. Because I think even the smartest person can be caught off guard like that. Like I love doing this. If you're ever going to flip a coin, I'll look at the person and say, heads I win, tails you lose.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, yeah.
Okay. So I think that's okay just to see if you can catch them off guard. And there's also a lot of math jokes and things like that you can do to people to see if they're paying attention. I don't think it always means that they're stupid.
It's just that it caught them off guard.
It caught them off guard, yeah. However, we are talking some really young people here, so maybe their brain just hasn't switched on yet. I mean,
they haven't had a Starbucks coffee yet.
Oh, that's what that is. Yeah. So as soon as you get them a Starbucks, they're all okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. I have gone into the place and asked for a left-handed hammer, and just to make someone laugh. In fact, I recently, my headlight on the passenger side of my car went out. And so I walked in and asked for a headlight for the passenger side. Not the driver's side, the passenger side. And the guy didn't act like I said anything at all unusual. Mm-hmm. And finally I turned to him and said, that was really funny. And then he smiled at me and said, okay, yeah, it was. But I wondered at what time did he realize it?
I don't know. He'll never admit that. You can bet on that. Now, college basketball new Wyoming men's coach Sundance Wicks busy getting players through the transfer portal, and that can be a busy place with so many players leaving and coming and going and everywhere else, whatever. The latest guy to come to Laramie is 6'10" center Scotty Abube, who played 3 years at Southern Illinois, but started just one game in that time period. UW looking for size? This guy's got size. Forward Cole Henry will be joining the Pokes. He played 5 seasons at Northern Iowa. He's 6'9", averaged 5 points a game last season for UNI. Another incoming transfer is Jordan Nesbitt, who played 2 seasons at Hampton, also played a year at Memphis and then a year at St. Louis. He's a 6'6" shooting guard who averaged 15 points a game last season. High school soccer season did come to an end over the weekend in 4A boys. Jackson beat Cheyenne Central 4-0 for the championship. Central finished the year 17-2. Kelly Walsh was 15-6. Cheyenne East 10-7-3. Laramie went 6-5-4. And Natrona was 6-13-1. And Cheyenne South was 1-13-1. The high school track and field for the boys. There were 3 guys who won 3 events at the state meet in Casper over the weekend. Drake Plowman of Cokeville won the 800, the 1600, and the 3200 meter runs in 1A and won all 3 of those races last year, too, at the state meet. Gavin Stafford of Bighorn won the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the long jump in 2A. And in 3A, Landers Reed McFadden won the 110 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, and he also won the pole vault. 4A boys team standings at the state track meet. Sheridan did win the state title. Cheyenne Central was 3rd with 64, and Natrona 4th with 62. Kelly Walsh was 6th with 60 points. Laramie was 12th with 21 points, and Cheyenne East was 15 with 6 points. In the NFL, Denver Broncos second-year linebacker Drew Sanders tore his Achilles at the team's off-season workout program. Sanders was a 3rd-round draft pick last season out of Arkansas and played in 17 games for the Broncos last season with 24 tackles. And the expected recovery time for this injury is anywhere from 6 to 9 months. In Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies will start a 3-game pillow fight in Oakland tonight. The Rockies are 15-31, which is the worst record in the National League, and Oakland is 19-30, and that's the second worst record in the American League, and that's in the sports.
6 to 9 months. He's done for the season.
Yeah, he would have to be.
Okay.
I mean, if he played at the end, but who would risk that after a while? Those Achilles things, it just takes time, and you gotta take your rehab seriously, and that's why it's 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, and then I would say there would always be that worry. Am I going to get out there and do it again because it's still kind of weak?
Yeah. You know what? But he's a young guy.
Okay.
So he's got his whole life, still his football career ahead of him.
Yes.
He'll be fine.
Okay.
He'll be fine.
You'll be fine. As opposed to you, every day when you walk up the stairs to do this segment, you're worried about making it.
Pretty much. And that also applies going down the stairs,
Oh,
too.
my God. Especially if you're wearing bifocals.
Yes.
My God. Thank you, Frank. Coming up on some local business we have to take care of. We're going to roll into news time after that national local update on your weather forecast. Wake up, Wyoming.